What's up?
Yeah, man.
I've just got to start carrying the phone around on record, and just because sometimes it's like, and we could already have this show recorded through dinner.
It's been like the 6 hour jammer-a-thon.
I don't know if your YouTube show's like this or not.
For real, this is how we do it.
It feels like, I guess we should have hit record.
Yeah, man. 6 hours into the conversation, we'll hit record. We'll let you in. Well, come on in.
What's up? I'm Jared, by the way.
I'm Josh. It's good to be here, my man.
What's going on?
Not a whole heck of a lot, man.
It's that time of year again when I just cannot stand looking at Facebook feeds just because you get people's commentary of the game, and you're scrolling along and they're kind of like, "Do you believe that call?" or "Touchdown again?" Like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you actually watching the game, or are you
Yeah.
giving me? I'm with you. I hate live updates.
Yeah.
I don't like live tweeting.
Why
Why
are you doing this?
Seriously, I'm like, pay attention. It's one of the things I love about. It's very rare that I buy a ticket and go to a game, but when I do, it's one of the things I love about it. We were discussing earlier, man, about our like mutual paranoia of like the Ticketmaster app, because I love not having to keep up with things. I miss my souvenirs. I like tickets as a souvenir, but it's okay. But man, phones, both of our phones are so notoriously wonky downtown that I'm nervous. It makes me nervous every time.
I just don't want to depend on it.
Yeah, seriously.
Where you don't get a ticket sent to you anymore. And I've had the experience with going to a Braves game the other night where I would always just do like a screenshot of the ticket just so I don't have to worry about bringing up the app or Safari not connecting or whatever it does. So I was like, but then they send out these emails, and I think these emails are just meant to put the fear of God into people, where they're like, screenshots will not scan, you will not be allowed in. Like, I don't believe that.
I might call you bluff, Hondo.
So, but yeah, I just the cool thing now is with the Apple Wallet, it lets you store some of them so you can just bring it up without necessarily having to depend on an app. But I don't know. I don't like not having something that I can just here, scan this.
Yeah, man.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's tricky because again, like the phone's. I'm just with you. My phone is tricky downtown. The upside to that is if I can get it open long enough to get my ticket and get inside, then I'm like, great. I don't even think about having one.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I don't understand constant commentary. I do not get it. It's like, no, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah, man. Maybe it's just me. Maybe your Facebook feed's the same where it just feels like you've got, and it's not just one person. It's 4 and 5 like giving you this Eli Gold.
That's the blow by blow, yeah.
Of the game. Like, I don't want it, don't need it, but it's the comments where you kind of it has no. It's so out of context. You go, like, what are you even talking about? Just shut up. Like, everybody has that uncle that posts stuff about missing children 24/7. You have that political person that you kind of just block them from your feed. And now but this is a time of year where it's like pumpkin crap and commentary from the game, and I'm like, I just don't care anything about it.
Oh, come on, man.
But that's what was settled last weekend. Is they finally got the answer to the age-old question of the historic football programs,
Southern dynasties
of Tennessee and Georgia State. Really, that was the funny thing to get on Facebook. And everybody's like, "What? I know Georgia State had a team."
Yeah, man.
I knew they played basketball for a hot minute.
Lefty Drizel.
Good old Lefty.
Yeah, Lefty was the coach when we went. I went to Georgia State for 2 days. Jared went for a bit longer. And Lefty was the coach when we were Panthers.
Yeah, Milkman ain't ever getting out.
Coach. Milkman ain't ever getting out.
Google that story. It's pretty.
Yeah, the Lefty Drizel mailman story.
Yeah.
No, it is Milkman. I'm sorry. Mailman's Carl Malone. Lefty Drizel, Milkman. Very funny.
Why they call him the Milkman? Because he killed him.
Because he killed a milkman.
Oh, great.
Oh.
Let's sign him up. But, yeah, man, the Georgia State football powerhouse took on the mighty Tennessee Volunteers. And that was to open the season. Georgia State beat Furman, so they're 2-0. Tennessee lost again this weekend to BYU, which is
Cougars.
a lot less of a upset, but
That's true,
nonetheless, the faces on the crowd.
Yeah, it's always funny.
It's just great, and losing the way they did, I think they went into like double overtime. So it's kind of like we had them, but we didn't.
And it's interesting to mention BYU, man, because they opened the season with Utah, which I always talk about how I wish that Georgia Tech and Georgia was the first week of the season, because you would have the biggest TV audience. Because you would. I mean, if you built up to,
it's such an afterthought with following the way it does with the schedule the way it is now.
There's like rivalry week. There's like 12 things that trump Tech Georgia.
Yeah.
So if it's the first game of the year, and there's still good ones, because Colorado and CSU always get together, and I enjoy that. And BYU and Utah, when they play, I think they play every year still. It's always first week of the season. And man, I love that rivalry. But man, it's fascinating how the top two schools in Utah, there's some good college football played out there. Those guys really, BYU has been good our whole lives, man, or at least, up and down. And Utah's been good for quite a while. It's very funny because Urban Meyer built Utah, and then he left, and they ain't taking a step back for anybody. It was, I think Kyle Whittingham just took over. I think he's been there. I think he was one of the coordinators for Urban. I don't remember which one. I would guess defense just off track record. But, they haven't taken a foot off the gas for a decade and a half, and it's like, well, go on, y'all.
Heck yeah. That's just, and it's one of those kind of games that you check the scoreboard and like, oh man, they lost again, but it's not as big of a shock to lose to a team like that. But nonetheless, it's kind of like, man, it's not going to be a long season for Tennessee. It's going to be a long couple of seasons.
Georgia State, Tennessee should be the new App State, Michigan. It won't be, but it should be. Appalachian State was a 1AA team. Appalachian State was a 1AA national champion. Those guys were unbelievable during that run. Meanwhile, Georgia State was 2-10 last year.
Yeah,
that's what it should be. It won't be, but it should be.
It's the 4th year of that program.
Something like that. They haven't been around too long, seriously.
It hadn't been there no time.
Yeah, it's cool, man. That was a good one. I was happy about that. There were a couple of scores for the past couple of weeks, because we got to get caught up, that I was pretty pleased with. I told the man earlier that my favorite game of the weekend, I really enjoyed Colorado-Nebraska. That was awesome, because Nebraska got up to the relative. It wasn't a huge thing, because I can't stand when somebody gets up 10 points. Oh, they blew a 10-point lead. That's 2 scores, man. 10 points is not a big deal. 17 is 3. I think they were up 17-0, and then Colorado chips it back, and they keep going back and forth. It was really quite enjoyable, and I've missed that because I love Nebraska being in the Big Ten. I love it, but with them leaving the Big 12, that was one of the rivalries that got done away with. Well, now neither one of them's in the Big 12, so it's like, all right, cool, man.
I remember that comment getting made one time when it was like a 14-point loss that some team had, and was it, oh, they just got ass whoopings. Like, man, that's hardly an ass whooping.
That's 2 scores, man, especially if you follow college ball.
Yeah, man.
Pro ball, 14 points might be a bigger deal, because usually the parity's a little bit tighter now. There's a couple from today that blow that statement completely in the butt. But 14 points is like, y'all, that is not a big deal.
Calm down.
At all.
Calm down on the a-whipping part.
That's where I'm at. No. You need to calm down on that, man. Get beat by 30, you got beat up real good.
That's double digits, but
they're not always.
20.
Yeah, they're not created the same. You're right. Double-digit losses are not all created equally.
Yeah, but that was the other game that everybody was like just shocked at. Boise State and Florida State, like, y'all, where's the shock?
I completely agree. I just don't. I don't get it.
They're still Boise.
Yeah, seriously. Boise State's been a bear for a hot minute now. I'm with you. I didn't understand that one.
They're just some of these teams like a Florida State, like, well, they can't lose, especially not this early. Like, they shouldn't, but they did.
They do all the time, man. Florida State was built to spill. There's a reason that Jimbo ran out of that place as quick as he could. And it was that I truly believe that Florida State was designed. Basically, they let Jimbo Fisher go in and do whatever he wanted to, and then all of a sudden it was all like, oh, that's not going to happen anymore because Dabo's your new daddy. So he got out while the getting out was good, and now it's the same as it ever was, man. I know people get mad when I say this, but I don't care.
That run had nothing to do with him in the first place.
Oh no, it's what they'll let you get away with, and that's the whole point with people get mad when you say it. But that's the deal with Nick in Alabama. Yeah. Nick Saban is in a position now to where no matter what he does on the recruiting trail, he will never have to answer for it. And if you are in a spot to where you can openly recruit anybody and the NCAA is never going to take a look at you, by God, you better do what he's doing. Yeah. You better. So it's just like, man, okay, it's all good. It's more of the same of like, too many people expect this kiss the ring attitude. And it's like, no. If you dig the accomplishments, that's great, but that don't mean nothing to me, man. I ain't never been impressed by. There's never been any such thing as a college football national champion anyway. The NCAA is a joke of an organization, but they are your governing body. It's like saying the NFL doesn't recognize the Super Bowl champion. How ridiculous does that sound? Well, in college football, that's the truth. The NCAA recognizes from 1AA down, but 1A, there's never been a team that won a national championship. They don't exist. Yeah. But anyway, back to the good stuff about it. Texas LSU was fun. That was kind of cool, just because big game vibe, and it's one I can watch and enjoy, and that was cool. But it seems like there's one that I'm forgetting about that I really had a bit of fun watching. I didn't watch a ton of that one, but the main one that I actually sat and watched again was, Buffs and Huskers. But that's about all I've really seen. I was telling Jared, man, I felt, kind of bad. Kind of not, because you knew it was foregone. But, man, Tech's kicking off the ACC network, and they're up in Death Valley, and it's like, yeah, season's starting great. And I'm sitting in my house on FS2 watching Monterey and Pumas. And I was just, I didn't care. It was just like, that's cool. And it was same thing, and I hate to say it, but even with South Florida, man, I forgot that. I forgot it was Saturday, honest to God. And then I tuned in with about 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, and I'm like, well, okay, we'll check this out. Yeah. I tuned in right in time to see the tide turn, but at least we put a stopper on it, and we won. That was nice. But my quick review for Tech is, it's like I was telling the man at dinner, man, I think to expect anything out of Jeff Collins' offense this year is completely unfair, and I really don't think very many people are, primarily because the very specialized offense that we've run for the last 12 years, there's not a ton of versatility in those recruits. There's just not. Those guys are recruited to do one thing, and it ain't what they're doing now. So it's tricky. And I hope that it goes well and guys can do okay, but it's not fair to kill Collins or the staff or anybody else. If they don't get me wrong. I don't mean like they don't have any national. No one's watching Georgia Tech right now anyway, and nobody's going to give them a hard time. But I promise you, nobody at ESPN will give them a hard time because this is my crystal ball junk doing this number right here. After, and this is going to sound really stupid after earlier today, but when this season is over and Jason Garrett gets shown the door, because they were so awful today. But if Jerry actually fires Jason Garrett and he goes back and he tries to get Nick, I think he's going to go after Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. Yeah. But anyway, basically, eventually you're going to get to a point either when Nick hangs him up or goes back to the NFL, probably hangs him up. I think Miami taught him a lesson. It's funny you never hear about him coaching at Miami. Yeah. We can't wait to bring up Pete Carroll, scandalous Pete Carroll at USC. They talk about that all the time. But try and get someone at ESPN to say Nick Saban and Miami Dolphins in the same sentence. Ain't going to happen. Yeah. But anyway, when Nicky's down shown the door, Dabo has already been groomed to take over for him. And when that happens, you will see the center of the ACC universe will come to Atlanta. And it's one of the reasons I'm happy for Tech. I like to watch them play, but it's just not, again, it's kiss the ring stuff, man. It does not matter. And that's the suckiest part, is Georgia Tech could be completely above board, win the college football playoff 5 years from now, but the idea is tainted. And that sucks. That's the worst part of it, is it could be completely above board, but I will never be convinced that it is. Never. I'll never be convinced that it's real. And it sucks, but I'd rather it be that way than this fake Tuscaloosa crap where everyone wants you to bow down and talk about how wonderful they are, and I'm like, you ain't accomplishing nothing. But then if it turns out to be my guys half a decade from now, I don't want to be the one holding out the ring finger, because it's like, no, man, it wasn't real for you, not real for me, ain't real for anybody.
I just enjoy the TV show.
Yeah, that's it. It really, it's actually very pleasant. Like, watching them the other day, and South Florida gets turnover, and South Florida scores, and there's another turnover, and man, it was just like, it was totally okay. It was just like, hey man, I hope they win, and we'll see what's up, man. But it's nice to not care so much. I need to figure out how to do it with these fellas right here. But I don't know, maybe that works too, because I told the man, we were talking about like all of the insane pay-per-views a week ago, and I missed all of them because Atlanta and Philly were playing each other for first place in the East, and I'm like, man, I gotta see it, I gotta watch it, I gotta see it, and we got tanned pretty good, but they really did, because Atlanta's tired. It's just fatigue, and people aren't wrong. Fatigue is a factor, but it's a minor factor to the primary factor that Philly's good. Those guys are really, really good, and they did it was just smart, because we got our goal, and then they went forward just enough to get one back, and then did that thing where it's like defend, hold, and then let the fatigue set in, and then if you find a crack, exploit. And that's exactly what they did. And they did a really good job, man. And also, I don't remember the kid's name because I don't follow anybody else close enough to anybody's players, which is cruddy. But the go-ahead goal for Philly a week ago was awesome, man, because they played it was just basically a pull back inside the box. And the kid caught it, I'm pretty sure, with his left foot and went to the short side. It's very hard to beat a goalkeeper to the short side because you don't leave yourself any room for error. And boy, he didn't. Oh my God, it stunk because we lost the lead, but it's also like man, you got to tip your cap to that one. It was impressive, man. Yeah. Anyway, got way sidetracked, man.
That's when it came to wrestling shows last weekend. I mean, there's just something about it that just makes me feel like, I'm just not going to be into this one. And so I skipped All Out, and I feel like I saw it as much as I've heard about it and watched like some of the little highlights and stuff.
Yeah,
so
man.
I feel like I saw enough of it.
That's exactly where I'm at too, man.
When it comes to NXT UK, I feel like I saw that. That was just more of my jam when it comes to what was going to be on the show. Going in, I was like, man, I'll check this out, and so man, but that's with all the stuff that happened, coming out of it, I couldn't believe that a bit of the bubbly was instantly a T-shirt, but it's just fun stuff.
It was interesting, man, because we were talking about this earlier at dinner, man. It just. I'm with you. I don't mean to trash All Out, because I didn't watch any of them. But if you're telling me there's a pecking order and I got to pick, it's tricky, because really my choice is Royal Quest or NXT. And, man, Royal Quest had some cool matches, and it's neat. I think it's cool. They had that good stuff. But it's like I was telling the man, the Bucks Luchas match was the only one. Tag teams, I know you're shocked. Bucks Luchas was the one on All Out that I was into. Like, that was pretty much the only one that I was real into. And I'm glad that Cody and Sean had such a good match, but it's cool. It's just not necessarily, it's not something I would have signed up to watch. Yeah. It's cool. I'm glad it worked out so well, and it's great. But that was the big one for that show. The big one for Royal Quest, there really isn't a big one. There were a couple, but unfortunately, I'm not a huge Suzuki-Gun guy. I really do not like Zack Sabre, and I know that it's sacrilege to say you don't like Minoru Suzuki, but I don't. It's boring to me. I mean, it's just crazy monster guy who's 5'8" and doesn't sell for anybody. Oh, he's crazy. Yeah, okay. I mean, he's got a great entrance. He's got that awesome theme song. All that stuff is cool, and I like his countenance and the way he carries himself. I like all that stuff, but the Suzuki-Gun model of don't sell anything for anybody drives me nuts, especially when Minoru Suzuki is not a huge guy, and Zack Sabre has the body of a 6th grader. I mean, whenever he grabs like holds, I believe that. It doesn't matter how big you are, man. If somebody breaks your ankle, they break your ankle. Yeah. But it's when people punch him in the face and he doesn't react. I'm like, that's not believable. That's stupid. And he can do it. He can totally do it. There was a spot from a few, I don't remember, months ago now, where he's in there like big time in Walter. And the whole point that he gets in there to big time Walter is Walter hits him one time with the chop across the chest, and Sabre sold it like he almost jumped out of the ring. And it was great. So he can do it. He can totally do it. But when it's New Japan, they tell him not to. Or I think they tell him not to. But anyway, the whole point about that being the top 2 matches there, everything I just mentioned, okay, like I said, Bucks, Luchas would have liked that. The big 2, all right, but I'm not wild about these. I love New Japan, but I'm not wild about these 2 guys. But Walter and Tyler Bate, there was nothing that was going to happen at any of the shows that I would have rather seen than that. So I totally understand, like, bumping it up. And then, like you talked earlier, man, about, I already got the network. All I got to do for this one is turn it on, and it's like that's just the over the top factor. I totally agree.
That's the thing that drove me crazy about hearing the shows and podcasts I listened to after All Out is people freaked out so much about the ladder match and the title match. You would have thought that it was flipped. That I want to say it was busted open, where they basically spoke about the matches as if the ladder match closed the show. Like, y'all, that's not what happened. So, but the people freaked out about that mess all week, and that just drove me crazy. I was like, man, get over it.
Yeah, I was telling the man, my biggest frustration with all the ladder match should have headlined. That should have been your main event. It should have been your headliner. I completely agree. I think that blowing off the AAA tag title feud between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks should have been a headliner. I also understand that the title match, the first ever world title, that has to go on last. So what I'm saying is do 2 shows. Yeah. I'm saying don't have to be the same weekend. Put the Young Bucks in some 6-man match and just put them on the card and keep people out there. But I'm with you. It's like, now I understand because it's just impossible to follow. You're damn right it's impossible to follow, but it's a lot of it is the 4 dudes you're putting out there. It's Matt and Nick Jackson. You know what those guys can do. And if you've ever seen Ray Phoenix, you know there's nothing that either one of those guys can do that he can. Maybe Nick Jackson. Nick Jackson's he's a different kind of skill set. But Phoenix is right there with him from what I've seen, though, man. But yeah, you're totally right. One of them, neither one of them should have had to follow the other because you should have had them on different shows. Yeah. That's what I'd have done. But anyhow, the title match I heard nothing positive about except the Jericho people that are so happy he won. And I just could not believe the collective sigh of relief when he did. I didn't know there was anybody that thought Hangman Page had a snowball's chance of winning that match. You and I talked about it. Like Jared and I discussed, like, and this goes back to like before. This is like when Jericho was going to wrestle Kenny Omega. We talked about it then. It's like, okay, so Jericho is going to win that one. And then Jericho's going to win that. Jericho will become the first champ. Cody will challenge him. Jericho will retain. And then you go on from there. So far, we've pegged all those. We've hit every one of those right at the park because Kenny Omega should be the first champ. And I disagree. Kenny Omega ultimately will be the champ. I guess where I'm coming from with it is this. Study the history of Pro Wrestling Noah, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. First champ for Noah. Excuse me. Masawa. It was his company. It was all good. He was the most well-known guy there. Okay, well, it's Cody's company. Actually, people pretend like it's just Cody, but it is all of them. But that's the thing. He's not the most well-known guy there. Jericho is. That's great. That's a totally good idea. It's totally smart. It's all good. So when Masawa was the most well-known name in Pro Wrestling Noah, who was the guy that he was grooming to take over to be the guy that made that belt a big deal? It's Kobashi. And Kobashi was already God too, but much smarter to have Masawa win it first, and then you bounce it around a bit, and it's all good. And then you get to Champ 6. And when you get to Champ 6, Kobashi wins the thing, and he holds on to it for over a year. He defended that thing, I think, 13 different times, man, because everybody wanted to see the champ defend the title. And I'm not saying you wait till 6 for Kenny Omega, but what I've told the man, this is what I hope they are doing. because wins and losses matter. You know, wins and losses in AEW, they matter. Wins and losses matter.
Sure
We
do.
talked about it from the very beginning, man. Kenny Omega is going to be the guy that they use to show you they're going to go Spaceballs on all of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because but they said it matters. Yeah, because a pro wrestling promotion has never lied to you about anything.
It's the only reason they would do
Dude,
it.
the entire business is, they call it a work. It's a sweet word for a lie. It's all, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of diminishing Kenny, pulling him back, because that's the cute, sexy thing to say now. Well, I'm not trying to start a war, but I think Kenny Omega's overrated. I can't tell you how many people I know that would agree with that sentiment. And a lot of people, a lot of folks, as soon as he got, just go back and look at his IWGP reign. Everybody that had anything to say about that, it was negative.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right. So I love the idea of, it's very, very smart to do Jericho first. And we said about Cody getting the first title match. I'll expound upon, expound. Sorry, I got to make sure I said it right. I'll expound upon that. Chris Jericho's your first champion. All right, there's only a handful of people, not even a handful. I'd say 3 to 4 guys. You got 5 guys in the company that could have been your initial champion. And you pick Jericho wisely. They picked Jericho. He's the vet. He's the most well-known guy. And now I think the first defense is in November, so he'll be on TV. He'll have the title. You'll see him with it. It's all good.
Yeah.
But think Cody's going to win it? I don't think he is at all. I don't think that's what they're going to do at all. They're still doing this Cody MJF thing for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's because Cody is really about to start giving. And there's a reason for that. And it's so you can get MJF over as your top heel. Because as soon as you put him on TV, he's the guy that cuts the WWE promos. So that's the guy you want out there. And MJF actually wouldn't be a bad pick for the title either. Now, he ain't beating Jericho for it. That's Moxley. But we'll get to that. That's the point. Right now, today, Chris Jericho's your champion. The guys that you could realistically put him in a situation that could challenge him for that belt are the following. Kenny Omega, who just lost again and has already lost to Chris Jericho in AEW's time as existing. Hangman Page could get his rematch. He's already lost to him. You don't want anybody to lose to Jericho twice this quickly. Those 2 guys are eliminated immediately. Yeah. The one that I forgot to mention earlier, but I'll throw it now, is Pac. Pac just beat Kenny Omega. Well, Pac can get a title match. Pac's not getting a title match for the same reason they didn't have the original title match. Yeah. That's the point. Well, he worked at the last pay-per-view. Yeah, he filled in for Moxley, who was supposed to go over Kenny Omega, and he went over Kenny Omega. Yeah. So that's the entire point. Everything goes in 2 directions. This is the problem with nothing but Vince McMahon, where the only thing you see is, we're building a champ. You got to build the champ, because John Cena, face of the company. John Cena wins, and John Cena, and building John Cena. You can go in more than one direction. Mm-hmm. On this show, John Moxley beating Kenny Omega works for Moxley, but you've booked it to where it will work for both of them if this is the story you were telling. You keep elevating John, which is not going to matter. As soon as he shows back up, you can put him right back in the title picture, which they're going to do, and that's great, because that's the guy that I think is eventually going to be your second champ. Yeah. But the point being that you're advancing a Kenny Omega storyline too. You're advancing him downward. Because you lose and lose and lose and lose, and it really is them going, fool you, on the wins and losses meaning anything. And when it comes time for Kenny Omega to flip the switch, and he comes out and cuts one of his promos where he's talking like this, and he tells everybody what he's going to do, and he does the Kenny Omega thing. When Kenny Omega does the heel turn, you will feel it. Because the first thing he's going to do is absolutely destroy Chris Jericho. Then what he's going to do is Moxley will be champ by then. But he's going to beat his overrated ass too. It's coming. I know everybody seems to think that John Moxley's the gravy train with biscuit wheels. I'm like, this is all being built for a purpose. All of this is being done for a reason. So how many champs you need before Omega gets it? 3, 4, no problem. Jericho, Moxley. You can take it off Moxley for 10 seconds and have him win the thing back so Moxley can be your first multi-time champ. All right, it's all good, because when Kenny Omega gets that belt, he is going to be Kobashi. He's going to be Samoa Joe in Ring of Honor. You'll have the title, and cool, Chris Jericho gave it legitimacy, but Kenny Omega made it count. Yeah. And that's the whole point, is you have him come out and cut a promo, and it's all like, so you've got this old man over here that wants to tell you endlessly, hey, you're supposed to thank me because AEW wouldn't be anything without me. And it's brilliant to have Jericho cut that promo, because then the guy that comes and pulls the rug out from under him can bring it right back on him. And you do it by basically saying, this guy over here says that you owe him thanks. I don't want your thanks.
Yeah.
I don't need your thanks, because you know it, I know it, everybody in TV land knows it. If your eyes are on this set right now, if you are looking at this ring, this canvas, that banner, everything here, that belt right there, everything that says AEW was designed for me to take over. And that's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's such a good idea, man. I love all that stuff. I think it's super smart. So, yes, people having a hard time with Jericho winning, I don't understand that. People having a hard time with Cody getting the first challenge, I really don't understand, because it's like, do you think he's dropping this thing?
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Yeah. So that's, I think the thing that drives me crazy about what's coming in a few weeks is you're going to have the AEW regular TV show, and a lot of people keep saying how, well, your regular weekly TV will help some of these stories. I don't think it's going to help a whole lot with the Dark Order stuff,
Nope.
with the Librarians stuff. It's just, you're going to see how Thursday Night Thunder they're going to look, and if they don't just go in another direction with some of that stuff. But then the other notion that I can't understand where people get this idea that they're going to have the option to, like, well, they'll just watch NXT on the network. That's not going to happen.
I can't believe there are people that think that's. I just can't believe that people are. And you're right. I've seen them say it too.
Yeah.
But just every time I see it, I'm like, you guys really don't know what's going on.
Really
here,
haven't
do
been
you?
paying attention to the
It's the
WWE network for the past 3 or 4 years.
It's the truth. And the part that I don't understand, like I was telling the man, is this whole choice thing is stupid. Of course, nobody's going to make a choice. Everybody in the world is going to watch one and DVR the other, or like I'm going to do, DVR them both.
Yeah.
It's like no one has to make a choice on any of this stuff. But yeah, I've specifically heard that numerous times too. Well, I'll just, I've got the network. I'll watch it on the network. No, you won't.
No, I haven't tested. I'm not sure how long the turnaround is. It's got to be at least a month, maybe longer than that, before you can watch Raw or SmackDown, because they're on USA. And if you were to put that on the network the same week as it airs, the ratings are already bad enough. That's going to affect it even more. And I know Vince has got stroke with the USA Network. He doesn't have a stroke like that to get that put on the network in the same week, or streamed live on the network and USA simultaneously. That's just not going to fly. And that's not... the notion that people were putting that information out there made me think, like, is there some type of press release where they said they were going to do this? I look for it. It ain't there. That's not going to happen. That's not going to be even close to an option.
No, people don't seem to understand, and it surprises me. But to your point, exactly to your point, whenever you see the commercials that NXT is coming to USA, it's literally NXT is leaving the WWE network. That's what it means.
Yes.
Those are literally synonymous statements. It's the same thing. So I'm totally with you. But I'm the same way, where it's just like, however you go about watching both of them, I don't know anyone that ain't watching both of them. Everybody's going to watch both of them. It's like, man, it's not...
It's which one you're going to watch first.
Oh, God, seriously, man. That either or junk is like, man, y'all, everyone knows that's just... I like to think everyone knows. Especially now. You know what the people didn't have during the Monday Night Wars? DVR. Yeah. But you had VHS and people recorded. It's like, y'all, that's ridiculous.
You bump, back into, if you're into doing that. I remember being in a class a few years ago, and this professor, it sounds stupid, and it's something that younger people can't comprehend, but the idea of you not being home on a certain night at a certain time and it being gone forever was a real thing. But I was in this class, and it was just going on. I was like, this has been years ago. it's trying to make his point. Like he was basically describing Netflix before Netflix. Like if we could find a way to monetize not being home at a certain time and watch these shows, and like basically it's kind of exactly what he was describing was an on-demand service like Netflix. But I'm sure that speaking of patents, that had been set in motion long before we had the idea. Even realize like you don't have to do this anymore. Why is anybody having to do this? So anyway, but this, yeah, but having a show on net with maybe there'll be a Hulu version that you could watch this in the same week. I think Raw was doing that at least at a time. I don't know if they even do that anymore, where it's like an edited down, like kind of like the old when they would show Raw on Saturday morning, which was a really neat way to watch it. You just kind of got what you needed, and you could get on with it.
Got all the fat trimmed off of it.
And at the time, I think they considered themselves editing out some of the risque, raunchy stuff so they could show it on Saturday morning. To me, it just gave you what you wanted to see. So I really liked watching it that way back in the day.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, man. It's one of the things. I'm not saying AEW is making a mistake going live. I'm not saying NXT is making a mistake going live, because that's another strange thing when you talk about. Got to see how it translates live. NXT, it's like that's a television studio show, baby. It ain't live. It's different, and they'll be fine because when you watch the pay-per-views, those are live and they're great.
I think that's where they're making the better decision to go live, but them going live doesn't mean they're going to be touring. They'll still be there from Full Sail, and they'll do their touring shows, from what I understand.
There'll be house shows,
Yeah.
which is exactly how you should do it. That is exactly what you should do. It only worked for every wrestling promotion in the country for 80 years.
Yeah.
Vince is the guy that has to be in a basketball stadium, and he better get to rethinking that real quick because, man, anyhow. But to try and copy that is a terrible idea. Terrible. But yeah, the idea of them sticking it Full Sail, that's great.
Yeah.
That is a very, very good idea. It's exactly where they should be. Because it's like, for the people that live there, NXT is like a sports team, like a local sports team that you'll come out and support and be happy about. It's also a target destination. I know I'd get my ass down to Orlando to watch the taping of that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say taping, a broadcast of that. That would be unbelievable, man. That's just awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that when it comes time for people to get caught up to the main roster, it'll just get, I don't want it to be too blurry because we've talked about that. Like if they overload the NXT roster with a bunch of cameos, because, I can't resist the opportunity to take a shot at the guy. I shouldn't say risk. I won't miss the opportunity. But the first guy I think of is The Miz, because Miz has his show on USA, so they want him on everything to be a commercial for his little reality show. And it's like, don't put Miz anywhere near NXT. He shows up, cuts a promo, does that junk, tells everybody how minor league they are, and watch my show on, Thursdays at 10 or whenever it comes on.
Yeah.
Great, you got to do that. That's cool, but just as long as he doesn't stick around for any extended period of time, that's great. That's what he should do.
Cool.
Yeah, man. But I just love the idea of. I like the idea of somebody making their main roster debut and then just leaving. Like, I just think that's awesome. Like, nah, I got this thing over here. I think that'd be cool, man.
Yeah. And hopefully, if what I've heard, what they put out there on the interweb is actually true, is like doing an actual stick to it, we mean it this time, brand split again.
Oh yeah, God! If the draft is coming up, and I'm totally with you.
Just do it and mean it this time, and with having 3 shows, I mean that's what you got to do. There's not enough, with that much time and that many guys on the roster. I mean, use them for Christ's sake.
No, seriously, absolutely, man.
Shane on every single show, taking up every single segment. When you have that many people, I mean, it's just asinine and dumb.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. Whenever you start having people, and it's not the same people, but seriously, there was a time when criticizing Shane McMahon left you on the outside of every wrestling conversation there was. Now, that's all you see. And I'm like, God, how bad has it gotten? I just can't even imagine.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, man. I believe, well, like you said, that's what everybody keeps saying is the brand split, apparently, or the wild card rule, apparently was just an excuse to get Shane on every show as much as possible. And I'm like, what a terrible idea this was.
Well, thank God that's over, hopefully.
Yeah, seriously, I'm with you on let's do this. This is cool, man. But it's funny, something I'd read recently was that Liv Morgan set for a major singles push. And I could be completely wrong, and it's probably just me because God, speaking to people I can't wait to take a shot at. But I think the front office is finally realizing, Lexi Kaufman, she's never getting back in the ring.
Yeah.
She's never going to be full-time again, so we need the new blonde.
We've got another one already ready to go.
No kidding. So let's go with the one that dresses weird. We've got like 9 of them.
Yeah.
Let's go with the one that dresses weird. And I love that weird. I like the way I like what she used to wear. I don't know what they're going to do with her now. It doesn't matter, but seriously, I'm like,
I kind of, because that's been the rumored thing with every girl on the roster for the past 4 years since everything about Sister Abigail has dialed down. Put her with Bray was what I was kind of thinking. Maybe that'll happen, but who knows? Have to wait and see.
yeah, man. If it's true, if what I'm thinking is true, and they finally, I'm not saying given up on Alexa Bliss because by God she's the new Miz. They'll be making money off of her for, well, I would say 10 years, but she's a woman, and you know how entertainment is with women. It's like, oh wow, Lexi, you're 26, you're 29 years old.
You hag.
Enjoy the pasture.
Yeah.
Serious, that it's dumb. And I should be happy. I really should be happy that Nikki's getting a championship run out of it because she's so good. And I was like, oh, this is cool, man. That's what it should be.
That's that side of it, I'm down with.
Yeah.
But it just feels like, remember how stupid we made Bailey look? Oh, just make her be the stupid one.
Yeah, it's the Bailey thing is funny. This is me at my most vindictive. It is so much fun to see the worm turn on Shane McMahon, and even more fun to see the other worms turn on Bray Wyatt and Bailey. It's like, yeah, some of us never got off Bray and Bailey. Some of us always loved them because we knew you'd be back. But I do think it's dumb that they put this much time, this much obsession into like, Bailey's not gonna turn heel, guys. We're gonna get her back over as a babyface, and they did.
Yeah.
And then you turn her heel. It's like this is the stupidest thing. Oh God, it is the stupidest thing, man. Thank God Sasha's a bad guy again, which she really. I'm not the biggest fan of the everyone needs to turn heel and you need a heel turn. How about a heel turn? Let's do a heel turn. I don't like that for everybody.
Shake it up.
But with Sasha, she is a good heel. They definitely should. Well, it's not just that she's a good heel. She's a very good heel, and she is a terrible babyface.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just the best of both worlds. You go with the strengths and you eliminate the weaknesses. That's great.
Can't be a baby face and talk like that.
She's not good. She is not good at being a babyface. So thank goodness we're done with that.
What I've hated so much about the Bailey heel turn so far is that she didn't change at all as far as entrance and gear. I thought it would have been great if she did the turn and came out in just like jet black head to toe.
I wish they would have Bray Wyatt at her theme song. If you take that theme song and do like a grindy, like a metal version of it, you're totally right, man.
You could probably even do the wavy inflatable guys and just make them kind of like some crazy color.
We talked, man, about her being Sister Abigail because I thought at one time that was a good idea. And I just think the idea of Bray Wyatt's old entrance with Broken Out in Love all slow and dirgy and whatnot, and it's all dark, and then just as soon as they hit the ramp. But they should watch like the stage presentation of The Wall with those scary ass balloon, like they look like puppets, but they're balloons. And make them like that. Make them really creepy and weird. You don't have to do that at all. But yeah, just darken them up and like black their eyes and make them unhappy. That'd be awesome, man.
I'll eat your heart.
Yeah, seriously. But I just love the idea of them remixing that song. And that'd be cool, man.
If you're gonna rip the Band-Aid off. You know, just don't ease it. It just makes it, you know, it's a lot worse.
Oh, it's awful. It's one of the only babyface characters they've ever legitimately gotten over as a real old school babyface, and they couldn't wait to F it up by feeding her to Alexa Bliss. Yes, I'm still mad about it because that's exactly what they did. And, now, damn it.
Apple was trying to make me, I guess they're wanting me to update something. Like, no!
Seriously.
I can never just tell them not now. I have to do the Chris Farley.
Not now, damn it. I was thinking about that. I don't know why, man. As soon as I got in my car to drive over here, man, I gotta get to the bathroom. It's got that whole scene stuck in my head, man. But anyhow, yeah, I just think that's dumb. It's like really stupid. Like, okay, so you waited this long, you finally got her over as a babyface, and then you do the heel turn. How stupid is this? And Sasha, thank God they did do the turn. That's good.
You're having her do the heel turn against Becky Lynch. Everybody wants to see you get beat up anyway.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like, so you are trying now to make Becky Roman, where she's the good guy and always against the insurmountable odds and la-di-da, and it's like, man, I really wish I would let go of Hulkamania, man. It's just, please stop. This is just so old and so overdone, and it's the thing that drives me nuts about and this is one of my criticisms of Gargano too, and I like Johnny Gargano, but man, just that stacking the deck, piling it up, la-di-da, and to be fair, let's be fair about it, man. New Japan did the exact same thing with Kota Ibushi in the G1 final. And the G1 final was awesome, but all of the crazy, ooh, that treacherous Jay White, and he's going after his knees, ooh, he's a jerk. It's like, I'm just sick of the Vince McMahon, patented Vince McMahon deck stacking. And it's like, don't start copying this. It sucks when anyone does it. It sucks when you do it too. I just don't, I'm tired of it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, but on the subject of something total opposite, I did think that the finish to pop Kenny Omega was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic because, like, you just get a basic standing stretch. Who in the world thinks that's the end of that match?
Yeah.
That was really smart and very cool and unexpected, and it was neat. And I like that. But again, back to our point earlier, man. I don't know how anyone was... I'm not sure anyone really was legitimately surprised that Jericho won. It would really surprise me if anybody was shocked that Kenny lost. But because, again, you get to... If the story is the one that we laid out earlier, you get to advance a lot of stuff that way.
Yeah.
You really do, and that's cool, man.
Heck yeah. Here's the other story from the week. I don't buy that Ric Flair has patented either the phrase to be the man, you got to beat the man, or the moniker the man. If he was going to do that, why would he do it now? Plus, doing that costs money, and the only reason you patent or trademark is objects, and
I do it all the time.
the only reason you trademark anything is the only way to get that money back with what it costs to do that is to sue people. And with all the good business decisions that Rick has made over the years, I just don't buy that for a second. Plus, they're not even using that phrase in any of their marketing or T-shirts that they printed for her. So I don't think I just don't buy it.
I don't see why it's that big of a deal. I was telling Jared, my problem with the whole Becky's the man, Becky Lynch the man. The whole reason I don't like that is that the whole reference, quite literally, your entire identity now. Stone Cold Steve Austin is not Stone Cold because he beat somebody called Stone Cold. Yeah. So Becky's the man because she beat Ric Flair's kid, and I just think that's a terrible.
Hitching to that way.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so the one accomplishment you ever had was beating this girl. That's terrible because Becky Lynch is Becky Lynch. She's already over. Just do your own thing. Not do your own. That's unfair because that's something that drives me crazy when Corny and Brian start killing people for
wrong.
You know, are you doing this on the show? And the biggest one for me is the Omega wrestling the kid.
Yeah, yeah.
that's the promoter's idea, Jimmy. Sorry, man. It's like, I know you want to kill Omega for it, pretending he went in business for himself, and it was his idea.
Not on my show.
DDT is weird. They do weird things, and I guess what he was supposed to do was take his ball and go home. But if I remember correctly, when Kenny Omega took his ball and went home from Ring of Honor, you got a little pissed about that. So you're telling me that in the beginning of stages of his career, he should have walked out of a promotion because of what the promoter was telling him to do. Yes. I don't know, man.
Show up and work.
That's a tough sell.
Yeah. But my deal as far as Becky Lynch and the Man lawsuit is hitching your wagon to that Charlotte stars. Charlotte and Ronda was already a foregone conclusion to headline Mania 35.
Absolutely.
And you got hot at the right time and shoehorned yourself into the match, which was the right thing to do. But it's just played out now to the point that you just do something else. Come up with another catchphrase and. It was done to begin with.
Yeah, it was bad to begin with.
It wasn't good.
Yeah,
was it good?
Yeah, anything you do that's a stone, that's just a reference to somebody else, that's a terrible idea. Now, to be fair, to go back and finish the point that to piggyback on your point and put an exclamation point, I completely agree as far as Rick seeking compensation and legal stuff. It's like that's not going to work, and it ain't going to happen because, again, if you could, you wouldn't be talking about considering legal action. If you had a patent, baby, you'd already be in court.
Yeah. And
you don't have a patent, so that's the same thing we talked about earlier. Remember with LeBron James's Taco Tuesday, and how many people have taken to Twitter to tell you, I work at a restaurant in Santa Fe, and we've had Taco Tuesday for 17 years. This is ridiculous. Well, a patent's not about who gets the idea first. A patent's about who gets to the office first.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
That cash that it costs to say that this is mine.
Absolutely. It sucks, but that's the way that junk works. And man, I love Rick, but Rick just needs attention sometimes, and it's all good.
It's not that easy to prove because there's, and I don't know, maybe there is something to this. Even in some cases, when it comes to copyrighting a phrase, I think you still have to have some type of documented proof that you did have it as at least some type of an original thought. I don't know how lawyers get into proving that or disproving that. But they're not everything that you go and you may have applied for the trademark. Doesn't mean you're going to be granted the trademark.
Yeah, it's like Ohio State trying to get the.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is silly. But I will tell you, man, the freaking T-shirt that they have sold based off of that is awesome. It is awesome. It's just this, dude, it's just this bright red T-shirt that literally just has the word "the" in gray on it. Cool. And everybody gets the reference. Cool. And that's the point, is you don't have to trademark it. It doesn't matter, because if you can't copyright the word "the," guess who else can't? Everybody
else.
Everybody, exactly. So it's just like, and that's the thing, it's more of that silly thing where Ohio State filing a patent or trademark, I did it again, a trademark on the word "the," of course, is a joke. But it got eyeballs on that T-shirt, and they are cool. I think that's a cool idea for a shirt. I don't need one. I wouldn't wear one. But if you're an Ohio State fan, I can darn sure see you buying them. It's not as cool as Minnesota's. Minnesota has a T-shirt that literally all it says is "Bob went here," and it's Minnesota's Bob Dylan T-shirt. Awesome. I'm like, that's a cool shirt. I would wear one of those, man.
That's a neat idea.
Yeah, man.
I'm notorious for jumping on a T-shirt that I'm never going to wear. I've gotten better about not buying those, but, you know, I get that itch every once in a while. I'm like, oh, put it in the cart. I'm never going to wear that.
I can dig it. I've done that with several things too, man. But that reminds me, I need to check that Minnesota shirt out, because I'm pretty sure they still sell them. I think they'll sell them forever, because that is a cool idea. But ultimately, like we were saying, like paid trademarks and patents and stuff like that. I mean, we've said it before, man. I think it's the greatest finesse in recent history is the whole cease and desist. Yeah. I swear to God, either those kids are the quickest on their feet at thinking of stuff, or they set that up. It was like, we're going to do it till you tell us we can't, and then we're going to make money off of you telling us we can't. That's great. Everybody won. Everybody won that. And then they wound up getting move out of it too. That's still the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's my favorite Young Bucks reference ever. When they busted out the move, the cease and desist, and like this, it's the oh shoot, I think it's Maddie does the not Scorpion. Well, it's Scorpion, but sharpshooter. It's appropriate to get both the Canadians their move credit. Mm-hmm. Some kid suggested in a tweet that you put a guy in a sharpshooter and then have Nick do a crossface on him, and you should call it a cease and desist. And the coolest thing I ever saw is when they actually did that in a match. Matt Jackson went back. I think it was Matt, one of the two, probably Matt. I think he's more active on Twitter. Dug back through all his old tweets to literally repin the thing to give the guy credit for it. And I'm like, that's pretty sharp. I thought that was cool. So he was like, yeah, we thought this was a great idea and got to use it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm like, that's fly, man. That's a very cool thing to do.
There's a lot of guys in all walks of business and work. It's like, man, I don't care where a good idea comes from. A good idea is a good idea. So to give somebody credit for it, get on you for doing that.
I thought so too. I'm like, man, I didn't have to do that because scrolling through, I follow nobody on Twitter. Nobody follows me, and finding old stuff is difficult. I damn sure ain't one of the Young Bucks. It's like that's got to be difficult to go through that many zillions of things, and it was like, God, that's so cool. But that's part of the thing that we've talked about where. It's interesting that Corny refers to his fan base as the cult, but he doesn't understand why people like Matt and Nick and all that. Oh, they just want to feel like they're part of the show. F&A right. That's exactly what's cool about those guys is you feel like they're your buds. That's why being the elite was such a huge deal. Yeah. It was like behind the scenes and hanging out with these dudes that you wish were your friends. Yeah. They killed it. It was great. It was great, man. In WWE, to be totally fair, it's not that Ride Along came from being the elite. It didn't. Ride Along, I think, is probably older than being the elite. But as far as capturing that, man, take a peek behind the curtain, hang out with let's pretend you're one of the boys. Let's pretend you're in the crew, and you're riding in the car with these guys. Wouldn't that be cool? That's a great idea. That's one of the coolest, and that show is consistently wonderful. We're both massive. Party of three, a table,
Ride Along and Table for Three.
Table for Three, yeah, man.
And those were my jams.
Yeah, I completely agree. Those are great ideas, man.
When Renee had the Unfiltered show, that was good, but anything they give to Renee will quickly be taken away.
Yeah, God, no kidding, man.
Always.
Yeah, there's spot on FS1. I'm assuming they're not doing that anymore either because
it's a conflict.
I guess so. Okay. I'm wondering. That'd be interesting. What if USA does let them keep NXT, and that was the whole problem? Because there ain't no damn way FS1's going to let you stream anything. No. But I don't know. I'm just with you. I think that if that was the case, we would know it already. Yes. I just think that would be the thing.
We'll know soon because it's going to be starting in just a matter of weeks.
I can't wait, man. I'm looking very forward to it, man.
Heck yeah, man.
I'll probably watch them in alphabetical order. I don't know, man, because like we said, with NXT, man, I love that roster so much, man.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to save that for last, just because I know that's what I'm going to be looking the most forward to.
See, I'm kind of the same way. That's my thing. Is it's odd because when I talk about watching one and DVRing one, I'm just going to DVR them both. So then you're right. It's like about which order. Mm-hmm. And I would probably save NXT because I don't want to have to follow that.
Yep.
I don't want anything to have to follow that. And it's messed up to say that because AEW, obviously, I'm very excited about it keeps getting better. Mm-hmm. The tag division is awesome, and that's something I really, really like and really care about. But NXT's got a great tag division too, so it's cool, man. All the Wednesday night stuff is brilliant. That's what I'm excited about because it's cool. So now I've got double dips on Wednesday. Probably, there's no way I'm watching both shows on Wednesday. So I got Wednesday and I got Thursday with whichever one I didn't watch on Wednesday, and then New Japan's on Saturday. Man, I'm in good shape.
Yeah, got it on lock.
Yeah, seriously, man, it's all good.
Man, that's what's up.
Dude, take it easy, y'all.
All right.